Does anybody else think that Alice looks incredibly badass with an eye patch? I know I do. Greetings, my friends. It's time to take a look at 2 episodes of Sword Art Online Alicization. And these 2 episodes really do go hand in hand as we're getting closer to the end of this incredible arc right here. I'm gonna go ahead and say this right now. Spoiler warning. You haven't watched these episodes? Go check it out right now and then come back to this review. These are just gonna be sort of my quick thoughts, and I am gonna be getting into some spoiler territory, so you have been warned. So, let me just go ahead and say this right here. These 2 episodes, while they were really good, are also really, really slow. Pretty much each episode is defined by 2 major moments, an A storyline and a B storyline. And while they are kind of slow, I'm actually kind of okay with everything that they're doing here. I'm glad that the series is taking its time to build up a little bit of the atmosphere and these characters and seeing how they've actually developed. And I have to say that Quinella is already turning into one of the craziest villains from the entire series. It's really refreshing to actually have a female villain in the series, although she still does have some of the tendencies of the classic SAO villains when it comes to being a little, well, let's just say rapey. But let's get down to the brass tacks. What's going on in these episodes? Essentially, it's all set up for the big final confrontation of this arc, where we get to see that Alice and Kirito are still continuing to work together, and after hearing his very long recap story, she has decided that the Axiom Church is not for her, and she decides that she's actually going to fight back against them and try to reclaim Alice's personality. However, when she does this, she goes against the system code, which suddenly causes her eye to start exploding just like Yu-Gi-Oh's in the past, but thankfully she is able to somehow suppress it a little bit. In her distress, she ends up passing out, and Kirito ends up giving her this really gnarly eye patch, which, like I said, I think just makes her look really badass, to be perfectly honest. And it's also sort of like a symbol of her reserve. Even though she has the ability to probably get rid of the pain in her eye, she's going to allow it to persist. It's something that's actually going to push her forward as she continues to try and save Yu-Gi-Oh! And stop the Administrator Pontifex. She even manages to meet Broccoli, who's still completely frozen and almost causing his entire body to crack, and he actually ends up giving her some sage wisdom and advice on allowing her to move forward and to go up against Quinella and to potentially stop her and bring about a brand new revolution in the underworld. It's a nice tender moment, but geez, it just goes on for way too long. It's also really cool that Kirito manages to get the Rose Sword back for Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's awesome seeing him hold those 2 swords, as we know that he is dual-wielded in the past. She even comments that it's very rare to see someone other than a very haughty nobleman who would use 2 swords, and even though he could potentially do it, these swords are fucking heavy. But while all of this has been going on, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is actually now under the control of the Administrator Quintella, who uses her sexy wiles in order to basically transform him into her very own personal attack dog. It's not much of a shock, but by the end of the next episode, we get to see that Yu-Gi-Oh! Has officially been transformed into an Integrity Knight with a brand new personality, and it looks like it's all going to come down to a big battle between him and Kirito. But before we actually get there, we get to learn a little bit more about floor 96 of this tower. We get to see that this is where the senators of the Axiom Church actually live. And if you guys remember those like weird, freaky looking like bald dudes who kind of look like Mr. X from Resident Evil 2 when they appear when something bad happens in the world, when someone goes against the taboo index, basically they all live in these like weird pods, which is where all the senates live, and they're all sort of controlled by Senator Chudelkin, who still continues to be an absolute chode. I do love the moment when Alice tries to attack him and shish kebab him on a sword, but he manages to use his weird, crazy, clownish abilities to escape, and suddenly he summons Yu-Gi-Oh! To fight against Kirito, and that's pretty much where the episode ends, with both of these characters getting ready to have an epic battle with one another. They have no choice but to fight against them, and while it is kind of cliche in some parts, I have to say I'm very excited to see how this battle is going to go down, because if anything, in classic Sword Art fashion, it's going to be really well animated. So what's the rundown on both of these episodes of Sword Art Online? I really liked both of these a lot, especially because it's great to finally spend more time with Alice, as she's essentially one of the major characters of the story, and they waited so long to finally get to her. And at first I thought she was just going to be a really annoying hard ass, and it was going to take forever in order to get her to work along with them. And no, she actually manages to listen to everything that Kirito said, and so bravely made the declaration to go against the Axiom Church. I have to say that while that moment was a little long-winded, man, it just sent a chill down my spine actually watching it happen. It was just so incredibly awesome. But I have to say that a lot of the moments that shocked me the most about these episodes, not so much shocked but were surprising, were all the moments between Quinella and Yu-Gi-Oh, which managed to be incredibly fan-servicey heavy, but that's just kind of the way the things are in SAO sometimes. Like I said, she is kind of a unique villain for the show in the sense that she is a female and she's a living AI who's gone insane and is trying to control the world. But like I said, just like a lot of the other previous villains, she does get a little rapey with one of the characters, which is strange, and it totally gets into some like weird Oedipal complex stuff. Like first there's a vision of Yu-Gi-Oh seeing Quinella as his mother, the next minute they are just naked in bed. The entire moment basically serves to show Yu-Gi-Oh's greatest weakness, which is all he really wants in this world is love. But the only true love that he's actually going to get is from Alice. Quinella uses this to her advantage in order to tell Yu-Gi-Oh that she's the only one who can give him the love that he deserves, and this allows her to transform him into a superpowered Integrity Knight, and in record time, I might add. The implication is that it usually takes a while for this to happen, but somehow Quinella has been able to do this with Yu-Gi-Oh and just like lickety-split. But still, it's more of an excuse just to see an epic battle between him and Kirito, which I cannot wait to see in the next episode. Hopefully Alice is going to get involved as well, as watching both Kirito and Alice team up against Yu-Gi-Oh I think would be really exciting. I also have to say that the development between Kirito and Alice has been really great as well, watching these characters fight together, and the fact that now that she is sort of blind in her right eye, she's going to need someone to help her out, and I love that Kirito made the declaration that he's always going to defend her right, which leads me to believe that she will get involved in the next battle. Either that or she's going to go after Chudelkin, which I hope they kill this character because damn, he is annoying. So ultimately, this is headed into familiar territory with friend pitted against friend. Who's going to win? It's probably going to be Kirito. But still, I can't wait to see it happen and how it's all going to look. I'm very excited for all of that, as well as for the big final confrontation with Quinella, which I'm expecting to be pretty damned epic. What I will say is, these two episodes right here were honestly pretty solid, despite the fact that they were pretty long-winded in the story that they were trying to tell. But just like the rest of SAOA, it's done with such great atmosphere and animation that honestly, I just didn't mind. I loved both of these episodes, which is why I'm going to give them a 5 out of 5 each. Yes, I loved both of these episodes, and I really want to hear from you guys. If any of you did watch either of these episodes, give me your thoughts about them in the comment section below. What do you think of Alice's brand new piratey look? I think it's pretty badass. What do you hope to see in the battle between Kirito and Yu-Gi-Oh? Will Kirito come out on top? Will Yu-Gi-Oh suddenly surprise him with his power? And what will happen to Quinella? What do you want to see from the rest of this arc? Give me all your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you all for watching this review. I'll see you all next time, and as always, stay down there, baby.